Welcome to Magician Recaps Explains. The movie begins with a bad guy named Radek meets a German reporter, Greta, secretly to talk about some classified CIA files. The files and photos are shown to Greta, and she seems excited to be able to tell the world about the CIA cover-up. Suddenly, Radek pulls out his gun while she takes pictures with her phone. Greta asks Radek why he would betray her, yet he shoots her. Later on, there are protests all over the city when false information spreads that the CIA is killing reporters. Not knowing this is the third murder of this kind in Greece in just a month. CIA worker, Kate, on the other hand, is looking into why these people were killed. Late that night, Kate is still watching a videotape by herself in the office when she sees someone who turns out to be Radek. She quickly runs over to her boss, Tim, who is also shocked to see Radek, who had been dead for more than 18 months. Tim checks to see if Kate has shown anyone else, before telling Handler that Radek was a secret CIA agent who was working with both the Greek and Russian mafias. There was a famous CIA agent called Steve at that time. He was now retired and working as a common Spartan bricklayer. Somewhere in the city, Steve goes to work on a building site, and then to the roof to fix an old wall. He goes to get lunch and runs into Kate and Tim. Actually, he doesn't like seeing them. He hears about the CIA being blackmailed, and the bodies that have been found, and blame Radek for the murder. Steve doesn't believe this, because he knows Radek is dangerous, but not so dangerous that he would kill other people. Besides, he also saw Radek die, yet still Radek's picture was found at Greta's crime scene, proving that it is him. Tim is scared about everything happening and wants Steve and Kate to go to Greece to stop him. Tim is adamant because they are the only ones who know about Radek, but Steve tells him to clean up his mess and won't do it. He then returns to the roof to finish his work, and thinks about how close he was to Radek's family. At that moment, suddenly Steve is shot, and he quickly hides as more shots are fired. He puts a bandage on his wound, and then rappels down to another rooftop, where two shooters appear. Yet Steve sneaks up on them and takes one. He slams into the other shooter, and takes away his gun. The two of them start fighting, and one of them grabs a steel bar. The man tries to stab Steve again, but Steve blocks his blows and throws him. Steve beats the man up though, and then ties his throat shut with his tape measure, and gets out of the lift just before it falls to the ground, blowing up. Before we get on with it, like the video, smash that subscribe button, and turn on the notification bell to join our magical movie family. Steve then agrees to go on the task, and he and Kate meet up to get on their flight. In the evening, Kate looks over the plan again, and discovers pictures of Rick's brutality. Not long after, they land in Greece and go to a CIA black site to get a car. When they get to the building, he runs into an old friend, Patricio, who used to work with Steve. Kate doesn't like that the plan was changed for her. They are given weapons by Patricio, who gives them new identities. Kate is meant to be Steve's wife. They leave, and get to Greece the next day, checking into a fancy hotel room. Steve tells Kate to shower, but Steve isn't in the room when she returns. Steve later sneaks into a fancy party and meets up with Ty, an old CIA coworker. Until she finds out that Tim sent him, she tells him that the agency is still looking for him. He asks about a friend from their college days, and discovers that the person is now running a club. Steve goes straight there, where he meets their own, Steph, and immediately asks where Radek is. Steve knows Radek is still alive even though Steph tells him Radek is dead. He then shows Steve his men, who are waiting. Steph tells Steve to sit and drink, but Steve hits the guard with the glass. Steve swoops down on the guys and goes through them without getting hit. He then starts shooting to make a scene. Steph's men are shooting at him as he runs away, but Kate suddenly appears and saves him. Steve tells her he found Kate's bug. After she yells at him for leaving her behind during the chaos, he puts it on Steph to help him find Radek. Kate didn't go any further until Steve tells her what happened with Radek. Steve finally agrees that the fact that his family was killed in Radek's last hit made him lose it, and he began to blame the CIA. He started a plan to get back at them, and Steve was told to kill him. Right then, the CIA gets a video message from a radio station demanding $100 million, or the person inside will give out information about the CIA. Steve and Kate find Steph and go to his house. After he goes, they break in to see if they can find any clues that lead them to Radek. Kate looks through his files and notebook. At the same time, Steve finds some sloppy brickwork on a column, and uses his tools to uncover a secret space. There, they find Greta's cell phone, and clues about who Radek will go after next. They hear the doors open, and quickly hide before a guard comes in. When the man hears a sneeze, he pulls out his gun, but Steve strikes him from behind. The man is too strong though, and throws Steve. He takes off his belt and starts to choke Steve. Steve grabs his trowel and stabs the man in the neck, killing him. Steve then gets a text message from Patricio telling him where the next target is. When they get to the small town, they wait outside a coffee shop to see the target, who is drinking coffee. Patricio is also nearby, sitting down. Steve wants to use the man as bait. Radek calls Steve at that very moment. Then it comes out that Steve couldn't bring himself to kill Radek, so he let him go with him and agreed never to come back. Radek tells him that someone leaked his secret to the Russians, which killed his family, and he firmly thinks it's the CIA. Steve looks through the crowd and sees a well-dressed guy. He starts to follow him. Steve tries to talk him out of his grudge, but Radek tells him to stay away. Steve meets up with the man, but it's not on the phone. Radek suddenly shows up and kills the reporter with a gun before getting on a bike. Steve shoots his tires, which makes him crash, but he gets away. He tells her not to trust anyone at the CIA, which means he might be a radical spy. Steve goes to see Ty, and there is a lot of tension between them because they have a past. She tells him that Coaxed has stopped all CIA work in Greece, and will soon hold a press meeting to discuss what he found. Steve told her that he saw Radek, and thinks the CIA used him against them. Steve remembers waiting for her to leave with him a few years ago, but Ty turned him down, and chose her work instead. This makes her feel bad. She instead says sorry, and the two of them share a moment. When he wakes up later on Ty's couch, she tells him that they were able to find the video's IP address. He returns to the hotel room, where Kate has been thinking about what to do. She tells Steve that she knows he talked to Radek on the phone, and then hurriedly points a gun at him, and says he works for Radek. Steve quickly takes the gun away from her, but he gives it back to her with a smile. Afterward, he tells her he talks with Radek, but not about what she thinks, and decide to check out the building that looks like it has been empty for a while. Steve is shocked to see that Patricio is dead and hanging from the roof. He had been beaten up. A large group of armed men walk in. Steve kills the first man, which starts a fierce shootout. Kate gets a bag of explosives and hides under the floor to get away. At the same time, Steve sets off a huge explosion that kills a few guys before he expertly shoots the rest. Kate begs Steve to stay behind, but he won't because he loves her. Steve seems to give up when all of a sudden he throws the bomb bag at Steph, killing all the guys in the explosion. Steve is mad that Patricio is murdered by Radek, and he plans to kill him for real this time. They tell Kate that they will pay the $100 million, and Steve sees this as a chance to get on the radio. When Tim gets to Greece, Ty, Steve, and Kate are soon all in the same room. Then Tim tells Steve that Radek did ask Kate to drop off the money, and that he wants Steve to leave the job. They get Kate ready by giving her a flash drive with 100 million bitcoins. Kate then gets to a place where she finds a phone tucked under a phone box. Then she follows the directions to a bar. As she walks into the back room, and someone grabs her. On the other hand, Steve says he has been following her. He takes the drive, sends Kate off, and then draws his gun, and goes down. Steve sees a laptop on a desk in the basement, which is otherwise empty. Radek shows up on a video call as he connects the flash drive. He doesn't believe the CIA. Steve tells him that he killed Patricio without a good reason. He reveals he will find Radek no matter where he hides. As soon as the door to the basement shuts, Steve is squished under the desk. As soon as he sees the bomb, he quickly moves the table against the wall and hides. Steve is scared before a huge blast tears a hole in the wall, but he makes it through. Radek can hit him with a car and kill him, but Kate pulls up in the AMG, and Steve takes the wheel. They catch Radek quickly. Kate tries to blow the tires up, but she can't. Steve goes off-road, crashes into a wall, and then flips Radek's van over. They almost lose him before he gets away. Steve runs to the car, but Radek is already gone. He screams his name again further on. There is a party meeting in town, and Coaxed is giving a speech. Steve looks in every building for Radek, until he finds him. Steve grabs a hatchet from one of the cameramen on a tower while Radek lines up his shot. Steve is able to knock down the tower, which makes Radek miss and fall. Steve breaks Steve's hand before he can get his gun. Steve points the gun at him and tells him it's over. He says sorry for not keeping Radek's family safe, and shoots him as he goes for his jacket. He was looking for a picture of Steve and his family, it turns out. The police then shoot Steve in the chest, knocking him out. When he wakes up in the hospital, Kate is sitting next to him. She says they found Radek's laptop, but the money wasn't there. It turns out that they don't care about the 100 million, because the CIA secrets have been kept secret. The CIA saved Coaxed's life, and he now thanks them. Tim thinks that they are now equal, which makes Kate think that Tim has the money. After a few nights, Ty is getting ready to leave town when Steve surprises her in her flat and scares her. He hears vans pulling up outside, and Ty is holding him with a gun. She reveals Radek asked her to be his spy, and that she had no choice but to work with him. Ty gets her bags and goes. On her way, she walks past a group of men who are going to kill Steve. Steve goes inside, grabs a white package, puts it in the oven, and then sneaks out a window. When the guys walk in, one of them hears the oven and opens it, setting off a huge explosion. Steve was getting out when he was thrown into the street right in front of Ty, who was just driving off. Ty starts to speed at him, but Kate fires at her, hitting her and sending her flying. Steve looks deeply at her dead body before Kate comes to get him. The two of them then leave for the CIA offices. Kate thought Tim was dirty. That shocks Tim, and he tells her to pack her things. She thinks she's going to be fired, but he gives her more work and tells her to handle her own cases. Kate tells her no, packs her things, and leaves. After that, we see Steve back at work, happy to be putting bricks. Don't forget to join our magical movie family, and turn on the notification to watch more films like this. Like, subscribe, and share for us to reach more people. Thank you for watching. What do you think about the movie?